Hello, everybody. I'm Hoardergamer, and this is Hoarder's Comic Flex. I hope you're all doing well. It's going to be a very interesting show because it's been really terrible weather where I live in Wisconsin. Freezing rain, sleet, and most places of business decided to close early and everything. So I made the decision I wanted to be safe. I'm not going to worry about getting comics. So there'll be no reviews today. No reviews. We still have the show. The show still goes on, but no reviews. Twisted, it's good to see you. How you doing? Good to see you, Twisted. But yeah, it's still a show. Things are still going to be covered. We're still going to talk about things. As you can see, there's still stuff on the screen. So, stuff below me as well. You can kind of see that peeking at you. So, there's still a show. It's still happening. No comics. Wah! How you doing, Mike? No, there's comics. If you'll notice, right there on that side, you can see a couple comics right there. So there will be some comic news, definitely. And then there's some real recent news, too. I forgot if I clipped it, but I'll have to take a look. The weather's not perfect. You live about 15 minutes from me. You know exactly what I'm talking about. The weather is perfect. Iceman and flying around outside. You don't see Iceman. You don't see Iceman. Iceman is not real. Iceman is an excellent X-Man, but, like, not real. I'm doing great. You know, besides, like, being a little nervous, not having a normal show with comic reviews, usually one at the beginning, one at the end, I'm doing pretty well. How's everyone else doing tonight? If you're wondering what the first topic is we're about to get into, it's going to be video game news. And some very exciting pieces of video game news. I believe it was Monday was announced. We'll start with that. First off, my insane and probably ill-advised theme song for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Suicide Squad kill the Justice League. Do 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 do. Suicide Squad kill the Justice League. Do 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 do. Suicide Squad kill the Justice League. Do 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 do. Suicide Squad kill the Justice League. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Okay, like I said, probably ill-advised. But yeah, I'm very excited for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, in case you didn't know. It is the continuation of the Arkham games. Arkham games were not done with Gotham Knights. That wasn't the end of it. No. It continues with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. And we get Harley Quinn, also known as Harleen Quinzel. We get King Shark. And I apologize, I don't know the pronunciation of his actual name. It's mentioned in the Suicide Squad movie, though. Amanda Waller calls him by his name numerous times. Deadshot and Boomer, also known as Captain Boomerang. So those are the four main members we'll be playing in the game, and I am very excited. Well, on Monday, they said there's going to be a Sony State of Play with over 15 minutes of gameplay from Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. And pretty much everyone at this point is expecting that right when that's done, or earlier in that day, pre-orders will go live. In case you didn't know, everybody, the game comes out May 26th, but pre-orders have not even gone live yet. So that's probably going to happen tomorrow. Almost guaranteed to happen tomorrow. I'm hoping it's not pushed back. I hope we don't get a delay. If we get a delay, I expect it only to be a month or two, based on them getting more time for pre-orders. WB Games, and I've talked about this before. We'll go back to the actual game Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League in a second. But WB Games has this weird habit of only promoting one single game at a time. Even though every other company can promote multiple games. Nintendo can promote multiple games. Capcom. I guess Rockstar isn't a good choice. Because Rockstar usually has like one game every 5 years, but... Square Enix. Square Enix can market 5 or 6 games at a freaking time. For whatever reason, WB Games is like, well, we're marketing Gotham Knights. Pretty much nothing now. Well, we're marketing, let's see, Hogwarts Legacy. Well, can't market Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. We'll have to wait a couple weeks after that game comes out. And now finally, they're able to market Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. So, yeah. I don't know why they're like that. I don't know what that decision is, if it even makes any sense, if it was something analysts or consultants told them. I honestly don't know. No clue. I just think it's absurd. Like, heaven only knows when they're going to start to, like, promote things like the Wonder Woman, you know? So, anyway, we have a lot to look forward to. Because Lex Luthor is in the game Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. He is name-dropped. Basically, it looks like the Suicide Squad at one point or another are looking for Lex Luthor. And the Flash basically says you'll never find him or you'll never get to him. As in the Justice League basically, I guess, has him captive. Which would make sense because two things. Lex Luthor hates aliens. Hates them. Okay? That's one of his main reasons to despise Superman. Because he doesn't trust him because he's an alien. Also, depending on the writing and everything, you know, keeping the secret of who he was from Lex. All of that, too. But he's never liked aliens. There's been times where I believe he's teamed up with Brainiac to go against Superman, but that's just because he thought Superman is a greater alien threat and that he was smarter than Brainiac. Well, if Luthor is Brainiac's captive here, that would show that he's not smarter than Brainiac, and he probably realizes he has to work with the Suicide Squad in order to take out Brainiac. So, we already knew that the Suicide Squad were going to show up at LexCorp. There's a scene in one of the trailers where there's like a LexCorp scientist, and they're looking for some item there. My guess is kryptonite. My guess is they're looking for kryptonite to take on Superman with. And, yeah, apparently, I guess Lex isn't there, and I think that might be one of the first times the Flash shows up. Also, in this very brief, like, 15-second trailer that they showed for the State of Play, gigantic, like, I guess, I'd say, Brainiac tentacles coming out of the sky. And I don't know if they're, like, to, like, almost like legs to bring, like, you know, support something, or if they're, like, a conveyance. Like, are they going to, like, pick up and suck up the Suicide Squad and take them to Brainiac's ship? Called the Menagerie. Is that what's happening there? I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, these gigantic claws could also cause unknown devastation too. So they're pretty intense looking. Is anyone else looking forward to Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League? I hope I'm not the only one. I really hope I'm not the only one. I think it's going to be phenomenal. It's Rocksteady. As I tweeted yesterday, it's kind of sad, you know. First off, Mother Beepers forgot about Dre, and now Mother Beepers forgot about Rocksteady. You know, Rocksteady gave us Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, which is my favorite of the Arkham trilogy, and Arkham Knight. And while you can have like disagreements on certain elements, and yes, Arkham Knight PC has serious issues. Well, that's because the people that they basically ported that game did not do the best job. But if you're looking at the version that was on console, all three of those games are stellar. They're excellent superhero games, they're excellent action games, action adventure games, and they're excellent Batman games. All three of those things. So with that level of quality, I don't know why you would think that Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League would be terrible. Now, some people are freaking out a little that it's going to be a game as a service. And I don't know what to think until tomorrow about that. I hear from some people that it is. I hear from some that it is not. I don't know. The picture of it showed the Battle Pass. It did have a timestamp of January. So unless they were like told specifically, oh, that's in this older version, you'll be, QAing, doing QA on. But don't worry about it. It's not in the final game. I don't know. I want to hear what they have to say about it tomorrow. And is the Battle Pass like a Marvel's Avengers Battle Pass? Is it based on each member of the Suicide Squad? And do you have your own time to do it? That was one of the most interesting things about Marvel's Avengers. Yes, it had like hero cards, I believe they were called, or challenge hero cards. And basically you had as long as you wanted to work on it. You didn't have to like do it in 2 months, 3 months. It's the same card that's been there since launch, and that was like September 1st, I think, of 2020. So you can still work on that same hero card. Is that how this is going to be? Now, I'm also a little worried as this exclusive. I'm really hoping that WB Games pushed back. WB pushed back just a little bit against Sony and was like, no exclusive character. I will say this, and you can totally disagree, but I think making Spider-Man exclusive and wedging him in to Marvel's Avengers, first off, was a disservice to the character. Secondly, was a disservice to the fans. So if they decide, like, it's playable Lex Luthor, or it's playable Peacemaker, or Killer Frost, or something like that, Captain Cold, Heatwave, and that's exclusive to PlayStation, that would be disappointing. Being that it's Rocksteady, and it's taken like 7 years for this game to come out, I'm still going to get the game, but I will be disappointed by that decision. Because I don't understand why like an entire character has to be locked away like that to a specific console. Now, my hope for the extras or like the special things that Sony is almost guaranteed to have, because they are the promotional partner. If they weren't the promotional partner, this game wouldn't be showing like almost 15 to 20 minutes of footage during a Sony state of play. Okay? Just like that same thing happened with Hogwarts Legacy, where it was state of play, and then you found out, oh, there's a secret mission, or a special extra mission. And I think there was also some DLC like skins or something too. That's what my hope is. A couple cool skins for the Suicide Squad members. Maybe an extra mission. Not an extra member of the squad only available on PlayStation. Because that's... You're basically then taking like 30, 40, 50 hours, maybe more of gameplay away from somebody. Because one of the big fun parts about Marvel's Avengers, and made people play it as long as they did before they got tired of it, was playing each Avenger was awesome for the first 6. The first 6 all felt different and amazing. And then they kind of went into a little bit of a clone situation, and they weren't quite the same. But man, I love putting hours into Black Panther, Kamala Khan, Black Widow, Iron Man. That was a lot of fun. Even though it was the same content repeated, It was amazing playing it with different Avengers. And for the longest time, I was able to get over any kind of like boredom or anything like that, or like monotony, by switching off the different Avengers. Online profile is Xbox Live Mike. I will say making Spider-Man PS exclusive made me less likely to play Avengers. I would never go that far. You can't get me excited for a game for 3 or 4 years and then do one thing that's going to be like, okay, I'm not going to play it at all. Especially when it's something that I would make a ton of content out of. Like, they would have to do something truly heinous. You did play up, but not a lot. But you played through the entire campaign, right? The base campaign. And that's another thing, too. People have a selective memory when it comes to Marvel's Avengers. That base campaign is complete, utter fire. It is excellent. It's like blue freaking fire. It's got set pieces like Tomb Raider had. It's got heart. It does a great job of introducing the player to Kamala and her family. It's excellent. Or her relationship, at least, with her father. It's really well done. You can see the love and attention put into that roughly, I'd say, 15 to 20 hour campaign. Only in the Wakanda, War for Wakanda expansion do you get any of those set pieces, any of that love and detail. Because while I love playing as, oh my god, of course I'm drawing a blank now. Okay, well, I love playing as the first Hawkeye that they released for Marvel's Avengers. Yes, I forgot her name. I cannot believe that. I feel terrible. But yeah, that's one of my favorite characters to play in a game. So I feel even worse now that I forgot the name. But anyway, exclusive content needs to be enough to entice, but not enough to push others away. Yes, I agree with you. I mean, and then like I said, it did a disservice to Spider-Man, wedging him into Marvel's Avengers. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think the Crystal Dynamics devs ever expected Spider-Man to be in that game. They expected at some point Ant-Man, because a lot of this stuff sort of leaked. They expected Ant-Man, they expected Doctor Strange, they expected Scarlet Witch, Vision. You know, they expected a lot of Avengers. And while I know Spider-Man works with the Avengers and stuff like that, when you think of the main Avengers, you don't initially think Spider-Man. You get the other Avengers there first, or most of them, and then we start having that Spider-Man conversation. That being said, I thought he played rather well. Except his swinging was never, like, really perfect. I don't know. It's hard to explain it. A lot of the traversal for the characters was a bit off. And what's the big irony is the big update in, like, the end of March is going to take care of a lot of those traversal issues. How does everyone else feel about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League? I'm hyped. I'm really hoping for a lot of Superman villains. Because it's Metropolis, everybody. It is a missed opportunity if, like, Livewire, Parasite. See, that's what they could do, too. The Suicide Squad members, if they add new members via DLC, they could go with, like, Livewire or Parasite. They could go with Superman villains, being that it's Metropolis. And that'd be exciting, because a lot of people don't know those characters as well as somebody like Zod or Bizarro. Oh yeah, well, we'll be seeing 15 to 20 minutes of gameplay tomorrow at 3 p.m. Central Time. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, the Sony State of Play tomorrow. Any other specific villains anyone's looking forward to? What I mentioned this before, and I mentioned it probably ad nauseum, is no Riddler, of course, because it's Metropolis now. But what if Mr. Mxyzptlk, that certain fifth dimension imp, showed up? And what if he had challenges similar to what Riddler had? Where he's like altering the area of Metropolis, and you have to use abilities in order to stop it or fix it. I think that'd be an amazing way to have that type of experience. Because when Sefton Hill was talking about the game, he was like, you know, the kind of games that Rocksteady has given you in the past, you know, a big, massive open world, exploration, and that same level of attention to detail. Well, of course, I think of things like, okay, well, they should have something kind of like what they did with Riddler, but not Riddler. They should have all these other, like, side villains and things like that. And then you start asking questions. Did Brainiac go after certain members of, like, the Legion of Doom? Like, does he have more than possibly Brainiac captive? Does he have other members, like, of the Legion of Doom, other supervillains? Did some supervillains take the side of the Suicide Squad? Did some take the side of Brainiac and the Justice League? You know? Is Intergang involved? Because, again, when you're having the Metropolis conversation, Intergang, is that going to be part of this game? That was one of the big, exciting nerd moments for me in the Black Adam movie. Intergang is in there. I was like, okay, that's interesting. But yeah, I'm hoping that it's cross-play. I know if this is a Sony State of Play, but I really feel this game needs crossplay. I really hope it has it. I feel not having crossplay was there were a number of detriments that hurt Marvel's Avengers terribly. One was the exclusivity of Spider-Man. Another was not having crossplay. Those two things would have been very helpful for that game. Really helpful. Yeah, me too, Twisted. I think it's going to be really neat. And I mean, the way I look at it is this. Even if the game is a service, which I think they've probably learned a lot of lessons from what happened with Marvel's Avengers and other games as a service, you know, the pitfalls, the things to avoid, stuff like that. Even at the end of the day, if that's not the case, I'm expecting something along the lines of Arkham City or Arkham Knight. This really awesome, like, for me, Arkham City, to get all the riddles and everything, that was like, I'd say 35, 40 hours. And Arkham Knight, I'm still working on some of that stuff. There's some challenges that are brutal, especially if you're playing on normal or anything harder than that. Some of the bomb explosive stuff, I feel like I have to lower the difficulty, to be honest with you. But that's neither here nor there. So yeah, at the end of the day, you're going to get still a really good, meaty game. And just like all the other Arkham games, I've replayed them. You know? I've played Arkham City all the way through, like, probably 4 or 5 times, I'd say. Arkham Asylum, about the same. Arkham Knight, twice. I love it, but, like, Arkham City is the one that really grabbed me. I think it's because of the vibe. And it's like soaring around that world. Like, you can do that in Arkham Knight, but it just feels different. Oh, I love the Arkham series, yeah. Yeah, but I'm so very excited for that. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Remember, that's a Sony State of Play, everybody. Tomorrow at 3 p.m. Central Time. I live in the Central area, so I always go by Central Time. If you live in Cali and you're enjoying the sun and all of that, in areas that, you know, have sun, unfortunately, I heard there's some terrible blizzard or something going on in areas of California. First time in, what, like 30 years or something wild. Anyway, 1 o'clock. 1 p.m. is the time for Cali. And that's not all we're covering, everybody. Our game news, because again, no comic book reviews, our game news stretches on. So, besides Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. If you know anything about me or you follow me at all, watch me on Twitch. I'm not sure why you would, but if you do. Another game I'm very much looking forward to, in fact, probably at the same level, maybe even more, Diablo 4. Diablo 4 is going to be this insane, massive, ever-expanding experience. Dungeons, monsters constantly showing up, and world bosses, all of that. And it's going to be March 17th, 18th, and 19th is going to be the closed beta. This was announced on Saturday. And yes, that's a closed beta. March 17th, 18th, and 19th. And then March 24th, 25th, and 26th will be the open beta. You can play the open beta without even pre-ordering the game. So the 24th, 25th, and 26th, you don't even need to pre-order the game to try it out then. And Joe Shelley, one of the main developers at Blizzard, who obviously working on Diablo 4. Would it be funny if, like, I go into details on Joe Shelley and I'm like, yep, he works on World of Warcraft? No. Joe Shelley, working on Diablo 4, he said that it is enough time to actually make changes to the game before it launches. That if they would have done it, like, in, like, April or May or something, they couldn't. But this gives them just enough time that if there's certain small changes, they can be made. Obviously, they can't rewrite the entire game or something, but they can at least make some changes or iterations and things before the game launches. So, to give you an idea how quick they are at that, the new season of Diablo 3, which is going to be amazing. We won't go into detail about that, but I'm very excited for it. Goes live on Friday at 7 p.m. Central. Okay? Well, they have what's called a PTR, which is like their private server. People are playing it, testing it. I think it was like 2 weeks earlier. Within 1 week, they already had changes made, and they had patch notes for what things will actually be and altered and everything in the final version of the patch that'll be available on Friday night at 7 p.m. Central. So that's how quickly they can make changes. So, gave themselves a great window to fix things. They did. And also, it's a game as a service, and what excites me so much about Diablo 4 is I love the series. Right now, the graphics are even going to be gorier and crazier looking. The engine looks amazing. You can actually see a version of this engine being used in Diablo 2 Resurrected, the remake that came out of Diablo 2, which is really good if you haven't played it. I will warn everybody, though, far more difficult than Diablo 3. Also, the endgame is very different. The endgame is more like, go through the campaign again, but now it's brutal. They did add something really cool, though, called terror zones, which are areas where the music changes, the lighting changes, and super crazy versions of enemies show up, and you can only do a level of terror zones for the level of difficulty you've beaten. If you beat it on normal, you can do normal terror zones. If you beat it on, I think it's Nightmare is the next level, then you can do Nightmare terror zones. The thing is, you could face enemies that are going to be too powerful for you in a terror zone if you were doing like a Nightmare terror zone at normal level. It would be bad. But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that game. That game is cross-play and cross-progression. So I look forward to playing with a number of Doom Squad members. I'm going to try to convince and or maybe coerce Doomkiller HD into checking it out. I really think Doom will like it. I really do. I know that not everyone is into that like 3/4 aspect ratio over the head view, but you really get used to it. And it works well when you're trying to focus on a ton of enemies. So yeah, that's another extremely exciting game to me. That's going to be one of like what I would call an anchor game. I'm not someone that can just play one game and that's it. But in the past, I've done an anchor game. And for a long time, it was Marvel's Avengers. And that meant that if I stream 4 or 5 days a week, at least 2 of those days, maybe 3, would be Marvel's Avengers. That's what I plan on for Diablo 4. So, I'm looking forward to that a lot. And if it's a game as a service, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League would be a similar situation for me. Okay. So, we are not done with gaming news. We're going to go back to gaming comic book news, everybody. Guess who comes to Midnight Suns tomorrow? Venom. That's right, everybody. Venom comes to Midnight Suns tomorrow. I cannot believe how quickly they're putting out characters. Like, I fully did not expect it to be anywhere near this quick that they would have this season pass ready. Like, Deadpool was just like, I want to say, wasn't Deadpool like early February? If not late January? Like, I mean, that's insane. And now Venom. You know, then next up would be either Morbius the Living Vampire or Storm. And at this rate, I could guess one of them would be out at the end of March. End of April at the latest, I would guess. Pretty impressive. Pretty impressive to constantly having new characters come in. And it's not just new characters. It introduces like new mission types, at least Deadpool did. And also like, you know, vampire villains to fight in like the I guess you would say optional or side missions. So really cool. I just hope the game starts selling better, because Midnight Suns is an amazing game, but it just unfortunately did not take off the way they wanted it to. And I think sadly that one of the main devs who was there for 23 years just left. And possibly the reason is how this game did. Well, I'm actually surprised that Venom is showing up this fast. But I wonder if one of the reasons is because while Deadpool is an amazing character, he does take a while to get used to. You're forced to kind of work around his, what's it called now? Oh my God, what's he call it? He's got a special way his cards work. So unless you get used to that or like that, you may not love playing with Deadpool. He's very unique to play with. Fuego, thank you. Yes, you want to go on fire and Fuego. Thank you. Thank you, Twisted. But yeah, that takes a little while to get used to. And you got to kind of build attacks and your plan ahead with it as much as you can. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Venom. I'm looking forward to Storm. I'm looking forward to Morbius the Living Vampire. I really hope he's different than Blade, though, right? Because, I mean, we already have Blade. And now I know Blade is the Daywalker, so not like a regular vampire. But still, pretty close. Games these days need new content on a steady pace. Gamers these days are trained to season passes and such. Yes, I agree with you. I agree with you completely, Mike. And then one of the biggest problems is, and I brought this up with Marvel's Avengers, and this will go to Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, depending on how they plan all this out, is there's a drip feed of content to any game as a service. Like, there's a massive drip feed coming to Destiny next week with Lightfall, right? But then there's just going to be like season changes, things like that, more minor until roughly a year from Lightfall when the final shape comes out, which still isn't the end of Destiny. Although I guess we still call it Destiny 2. But I feel like now when you say you're playing Destiny, people know it's Destiny 2. I don't know. But yeah, the servers are still up for the original Destiny. Mike and I were talking about that the other day. Actually, no, it's Hero Mentor. I apologize. Hero Mentor and I were talking about that the other day. Unless you have a tank that pulls aggro. Yes. Yeah, like one of the biggest issues I see is like, and I don't put a lot of people blame Crystal Dynamics, and have gotten pretty harsh towards them with Marvel's Avengers. A lot of decisions, everybody, were made by Square Enix. Square Enix was like, okay, now we're cutting, you know, how many people you have working on this, you're working on this other project, and things like that. Like, you can't have a skeleton crew to do a game as a service. One of the reasons I'm so psyched for Diablo 4 is they know that. They've talked about it openly, that they have a large team that is working on the seasons, as well as new playable character types, new enemies, new challenges, things like that, and new story content, similar to the way Diablo Immortal works. So they have a big team to work on content. Marvel's Avengers would have been a very different story if they looked at the fact that you have to spend money to make money. Genshin Impact did it. Genshin Impact has an insanely large staff of, I want to say, 1,500 people. And I want to say it's a pretty large team also for Grinding Gear, who does Path of Exile. But yeah, I mean, you need to have people that can, you know, make the game. You got to have people that know what they're doing. And I mean, you could have a whole series of like videos about the whole Marvel's Avengers, almost somewhat of a debacle. I don't know if I'd see a game that was popular for over 2 years being a debacle, but the engine. The engine was a huge issue with that game. The fact that it was going to be more of a Tomb Raider type experience like that first campaign was, and then all of a sudden it became, you know, a multiplayer game as a service. If it makes anyone feel better, as far as I know, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was always meant to be multiplayer and was always next gen only. When the rumors of it came out, like I think in 2018, I think it was already rumored to be next gen only. Skeleton crews are good for bug fixes. Yeah, I know. You can't have something as lovingly done and expansive as a, you know, let's go look at Destiny real quick. A Forsaken, a Lightfall, a Witch Queen. You can't have something like that with a skeleton crew. You can't have anything that fully featured. A gigantic world that you can explore with like random missions and patrols to do. With a small crew, you are not going to be able to do that, you know? You just can't. And they had a larger crew when they did the War for Wakanda expansion. That's why that was so good. That's why that expansion was around, I'd say, 6 to 8 hours, roughly. And then also, you had all the new biome, the new enemies, all of that, including Black Panther. And a raid, which I think was like a few weeks to a month later. Like, you had a lot there. You had, you know what, for that free expansion, you probably had the equivalent of an expansion for Destiny. Like, not a full, like, Destiny 2 or Destiny 3, but an expansion, yes. Am I going to talk about the lack of Metroid Prime physical copies? Yeah, I can do that real briefly. Something got really screwed up with shipping, and Metroid Prime physical copies, not easy to come by. Not available at Best Buy at all. I checked. I pre-ordered one at Amazon. Won't be available till March 27th. Should have been in my hands today. I don't know what happened. I don't know. Part of me is like, do I cancel it and just get it digital? It can't be that large of a file. I don't know. I just don't know. But yeah, that Metroid Prime remake is supposed to be incredibly lovingly done. It looks really good. Just keep in mind, though, it's kind of difficult. There aren't constant save points. You can get upgrades for Samus, and you lose them if you die before you save again. Just things to keep in mind. Things that in modern games you usually don't have to worry about, you do in that one. So it's something to keep in mind if you're thinking about picking it up. But yeah, it's a fantastic game. Metroid Prime was one of my favorite games of all time. Yeah, there's not much I can do about that. I don't know how they didn't have enough copies or what, and how it got pushed back that much. March 27th. You know? But, yeah. I would have thought they would have had a whole system at Amazon to just cut off pre-orders when they couldn't get any more. I would have thought that was the case. There are numerous things I wanted to pre-order I couldn't get, so I thought that's what they did, but apparently not. Awesome, Twisted. I'm really expecting, hopefully maybe around E3 time, even though they won't be at E3, I'm expecting Nintendo to give us some news at least on the new Metroid. Like, I don't expect it coming out this year. I think their big release is Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, but I definitely think it's next year, and I think we'll start seeing gameplay and getting information about it soon. Metroid Prime 4, that is. I think, everybody, we're just about done with gaming news. We're done with gaming news. It is time for us to toy around. Let's toy around a bit. 1 second here. Let's see what we have first. Okay, everybody. The Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Look at that. Look at that. Now, I will warn you. $24.99 a piece. That's normal. That's what the normal figures are. However, Groot is a special figure, which is around $40. He's got these huge giant wings. If anything, he looks like what's called the Mothman. If anyone has seen that, like, crazy, like, urban mythology type of thing, the Mothman or the Mothman Prophecy. Not talking about the movie, the actual concept of, like, the Mothman Prophecy. It's what he looks like with the wings. It's pretty wild. But yeah, so there he is right there, giant Groot at $40, and the rest of the characters are $25. And if you'll notice, in the bottom right-hand corner, Cosmo, that is the Build-A-Figure. If you want Cosmo, you have to buy the other Guardians. And I think it's very cool that they have the old school Guardian outfits. I like that a lot. And look at the facial detail and everything. Let me make the picture a little bigger. Look at these sculpts on the faces. Like, there was a point where you'd only get sculpts like this on Hot Toys. These look really good. Adam Warlock right there. Kraglin. Mantis. I'm not going to name all of them, but like... Yes, Groot is massive in this movie, and the figure, I think, is almost twice as big. Like, with the wings, and even, like, the limbs are large on him. But yeah, what I needed to do is find a picture that was all the characters at once, because I can't have, like, 8 or 9 pictures. I can only do maybe 3 or 4. So I have to pick and choose. But yeah, I think these look really good. And the pre-orders are live for these right now. I know they're on Amazon. If you get any at Entertainment Earth, it benefits me. So thank you if you do that. Using code Hoarder. The code is Hoarder. Yeah, take a look at that. I like those. I don't know. I'm not sure why they altered him. I guess the movie will explain it. But I really like that Cosmo, too. It's crazy that's the only way to get him. Okay. I'm going to send this back to nowhere. Next up. Teen Titans without the teen. Raven. Raven from McFarlane Toys. Do I like femboys? Not really into femboys, no. Can I make family content? I really have no interest in doing that. But here's Raven. I think she looks amazing. I think it's an excellent sculpt. I love the paint. I think she looks phenomenal. So we got her. I'm sending her back to her father, Trigon. Yes, I can play the keyboard. I put out a goth industrial album in 2020 under the name My Iron Spine. I'm working on a new album right now, actually. Nightwing. We got Nightwing, of course. And Beast Boy. Beast Boy is the Build-A-Figure. The other characters are Donna Troy and, let's see, Donna Troy and Arsenal, I believe, are the other characters. So there we go. So to build Beast Boy, you have to buy the other figures in the Titan set. And as far as I know, those pre-orders are not live yet. They will be soon, but they're not live quite yet. An X-Men Beast figure? Well, I think as a Build-A-Figure goes, it's a clever way to give you Beast Boy without releasing him separate. I think it looks really cool. Right now, everybody, we're going into the future. Yes, we are. All the way to the future of comics. 1 week from today. Phantom Road. One of my favorite comic book writers, Jeff Lemire, who does a lot of horror comic books recently. Gideon Falls was one of my favorites. Well, here's Phantom Road. And I actually planned ahead, because it's like a little complicated as to what Phantom Road is about, but I wanted to say because I really like his books. Dom is a long-haul truck driver attempting to stay ahead of his tragic past when he stops one night to assist Birdie, who has been in a massive car crash. They pull an artifact from the wreckage that throws their lives into fifth gear. Suddenly, a typical midnight run has become a frantic journey through a surreal world where Dom and Birdie find themselves the quarry of strange and impossible monsters. So I think that's going to be really cool. Hey, Hero, how you doing? I know, I don't know who sees me and thinks femboy. You know? I mean, I don't see it, but but yeah, Phantom Road 1 I think is going to be awesome, and comes out next week. Next up we have Cosmic Ghost Rider #1. A new, I believe it's an ongoing series, I don't know if it's a miniseries, from Stephanie Phillips, the writer of Harley Quinn. She's also doing a Gambit and Rogue book. And that also comes out next week. I don't know how she has the time. Like, the idea of me having 2 major books at one time, let alone on top of the 3rd book with DC, and for all I know, she's writing 4 or 5 books total. It's crazy. But to have them the same day, you're like competing with yourself. It's crazy. Anyway, Cosmic Ghost Rider. was basically, how do I say this? Punisher, okay, and taking care of a baby Thanos. At first, goes back in time to kill Thanos in the crib, but then realizes, hey, it's not baby Thanos' fault, and then ends up raising Thanos to be like Punisher. It's this crazy Donny Cates miniseries. It's really good. It's really good. And now Stephanie Phillips is doing a take on the character. The idea is that there's another cosmic Ghost Rider that's going out and murdering people. So Punisher has to go and see what the hell is going on, and he does that again as Cosmic Ghost Rider. So like there's like an imposter or something, and he needs to see what's happening. So this also starts next week. I like Stephanie Phillips on Harley Quinn. I think she's really good on that. So I think this will be really good. It was always an offbeat and kind of bizarre and humorous comic. So I think she'll do a good job with it. Need to get into comics. They seem to be good reads. Yeah, I mean, on my show, I like talk about the books that are, coming out this week, as well as usually reviews. Usually, when there's not terrible weather and I can't get the books, usually reviews. See, I'm locked into certain books in my package, so it's not like I could just be like, I'll get them digitally and do the reviews. I'm still on the hook for those physical books. I'd have to double dip then. Okay. Let me remove this here, everybody. Okay. Now, any comic books, any toys, any movies or TV that you want me to talk about in future episodes, let me know. Let me know. Like right now, the Sins of Sinister Marvel series has been awesome. Finding out about what's been going on with Mr. Sinister and how he's been doing some really evil machinations in Krakoa, and how it's affected the current book and the current story arc of basically all the X-Men, all the mutants. That's been really good. Immoral X-Men came out today, and I was actually going to possibly review that, but I knew for sure I was going to review Clayface #1. That was the plan initially. Well, everybody, I want to thank you all very much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Whether you do it watch live, thank you, or if you watch at your leisure, because this is YouTube, thank you very much. I will be hosting the Doom Squad Gaming block party on Friday with Octopath Traveler at like 8 p.m. Central, so hope to see you there. I'm looking forward to that. The demo was excellent, and I love the first Octopath Traveler, and everything I played of this one, and from what I've heard about it, it's even better. So I'm very excited to play that and to stream that. That's actually going to be on Twitch. And that's where you can usually find me, twitch.tv/Hoardergamer. Everyone asks what Mr. Sinister's doing, but never how is Mr. Sinister doing. He's doing terribly, actually. He always thinks he's smarter than everyone else, and he usually isn't. Like, his is basically like his sinister clones have kind of outsmarted him. It's a little hard to understand because you have multiple Sinisters going around. So it's like, is that the real one? But it's really good. It's really good. And it was announced today, some really cool comic book news. Jonathan Hickman, amazing writer. He worked on the House of X, Powers of X, Krakoa story arc. He was like the architect of all of that. He's also worked on Avengers as well as Fantastic Four. Excellent writer. He is basically going to bring back the Ultimate line in, like, I believe it's a 4-issue miniseries with Brian Hitch doing the artwork. This just seems crazy. How you doing, Doom? Good to see you. But yeah, that's really exciting. I'm looking forward to that. I thought I took a picture of that, so I had the name. Oh, I do. Awesome. Ultimate Invasion. Jonathan Hickman, Brian Hitch. Ultimate Invasion, the transformation of the Marvel Universe begins June 2023, and it features the creepy and scary The Maker, who was kind of like a shadow villain character in the Donny Cates run of the Venom comic book. I think in the current run too, actually, I believe. But yeah, a huge part of the Donny Cates run. The Maker. But yes, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. And thank you, Doomkiller HD, for letting me borrow the channel again. Thank you. And again, like I said, I'll be hosting the Doom Squad Gaming Block Party, 8 p.m. Central on Friday. And that's going to be twitch.tv/Hoardergamer. Everybody have a good night, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.